Hi, I'm Kerry Gordon, and it's a privilege to be able to work out with you today, and I'm hoping that you do all the exercises, do as much as you can do, but don't feel bad if you can't get through the entire workout. This is your workout, and you're supposed to do as much as you can do. And so today I'm going to work out with some bands here, and I've got this blue band, and so many of these bands you can buy just about anywhere nowadays. They're HomeSense, Dollar Store, Shoppers Drug Mart. So they're just about available anywhere, most sports equipment places, and if you search you can probably find them. So these are the flat bands, and they're used many times through physiotherapy and other exercises. So they're a great way to train, they're a great way to allow resistance. And the beauty of working with these bands is that as you pull them further, they actually get harder. So that is something that working with weights can't give you. So that's a great benefit also working with bands. Also, the ability to carry them anywhere. So the portability of being able to take them on vacation, to keep them at home, to put them somewhere. And so they're easily accessible to wherever you are and wherever you want to go with them. So today, I'm going to take you through an entire workout. We're going to go head to toe through the entire body. And so do your best to try and keep up with me. I'm going to explain each of the exercises and try and explain some of the muscles where we work so that you have a great understanding of exactly what you're doing and what you're trying to accomplish. Try and pick the exercise that work best for you. Don't worry if you can't do all of them. In time, you'll be able to do probably most of them. So first of all, get yourself a band and something that is not too hard. They come in different strengths depending on the color, but you just want to find something you can manage and progress to something that is a little bit harder as you do each time. So why don't we get started? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to warm up. So I always like to warm up starting from the head and going all the way down to the bottom here. So I'm just going to drop this band to the side here. We're going to start with our neck. So again, keep yourself nice and tall, shoulders back, place your hands down by your sides, and I want to put my feet, what we call an athletic stance, so just comfortably apart here. I want to have my shoulders back, and I just turn my thumbs slightly back behind me so it pulls my shoulders back. From that good position, it's called an anatomical position here. I'm going to take my head gently side to side, keeping it straight on and moving ear towards the shoulder, side to side. Nice and easy. Now the rule of thumb is kind of as many as your age, but I'm not going to have you do that many. And I'm certainly not going to do as many as my age, but I want you to do about 15 repetitions at a time, or just stay with me. Good, and looking straight ahead now, and I'm going up and down, up and down, up and down. I inhale on the way up, and I breathe out on the way down. Come back to the beginning again. If you're getting lightheaded or dizzy, you can stop at this point, and I want you to turn and look behind you. Try not to move your shoulders, just want to move your head. Even if it's only a little bit of a turn, that's fine. There we go, good. The next stance I want you to have is one foot in front of the other, so just slightly in front, and we're just going to be rocking back and forth. So holding that position, and from that position I'm going to extend the arms straight up, and I'm going to come back so this toe lifts off the ground, straight up, toe lifts. So deep breath in, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. I'm really trying to get a nice tall stretch. Coming down, nice tall stretch. One more. Nice tall stretch, good, and then back down. Get your feet back in that athletic stance, okay? Now we're going straight out. We're just kind of blood circulation here. Trying to wake the body up. Okay, deep breath in, hold, and pulling down behind the head. Good, inhale. Pull down behind. One more time. Good. Going back to that stance, one foot slightly ahead of the other one. We're going to work on this right arm here and rotation of the right arm. So thumb up, rotate back, hand goes back. So I'm going to rotate. And what I want to do is just keep this one arm moving. I don't want to rotate my body too much. I want to just keep it all in the shoulder, reaching back. And some of you may find it tight in your shoulders here. It may take you a little bit to get. You might not be able to fully rotate that arm. What you can do is put your thumb here and just give that elbow rotation like that instead of not getting full arm rotation. I want you to get the shoulder rotating, and it's going to burn a little bit, and that's when the work really begins, is getting that shoulder warmed up. It feels really warm and it's ready to go. Now we're going to the opposite direction. So I still want to keep that thumb up as I rotate in the opposite direction. Again, back to here. You can still come, and now going forward instead of backwards. Okay, it's backwards, and this is now forwards. All right, the other side. So place the other foot forward, and now the left, reaching back. And this is where you may notice that one arm maybe has a little bit of clicking and different, and one arm maybe is a little tighter than the other. And again, you may just want to vary these per arm, and that's why I do individual arm at a time, because I may have a difference between one arm than the other, than rather doing both arms and feeling really awkward and unnatural to do that. Again, placing the thumb here and going backwards like that with the elbow, just trying to keep that thumb engaged right in here and back. And now forward, we're going to get the thumb here, going forward now, and rotating forward. And now we'll just bring that arm up. And again, I'm just doing 10 to about 15 in each direction before I change. Your arm should be warm, should be burning a little bit by now. Good. All right, so now I just do both. And I'm just going to be quickly through here. And it should be looser by now. If I'm doing here again, I'm going to just do that. You know, the chicken dance, right? Back like that, and then forward. Good, and same with the arms forward. Let's do a little swimming action forward. So now we're getting a little body rotation here. What I want. Good. And this is all part of helping you move a lot better. You know what? Nobody really cares as you go along how strong you are, but you care how well you move. So you want to get movement a lot better in your body than you are now or currently are. And so we want to get better like that. And then, of course, you want to get stronger. The more strength we have, the more currency we have as we get older, that our body's going to be able to endure and put up with a lot. Okay, starting with your hands on the hips. Now I got my feet back into that athletic stance, and I'm going to forward and back. Please try and keep your head up as we go forward. I don't want you to get lightheaded or dizzy in any way. So I'm bending forward, head is down. And what's really important here, I'm just going to turn to the side. You can see here, is I really want to extend those hips back, keeping that back flat, and then extending my hips forward. So it's back, hips forward. So inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Good. And these are called bend overs. Good. Now I want to get rotation through the hips. I just want to rotate through the hips here. The more we can separate body movements, one movement at a time, so it doesn't look like one stiff movement, the better off you're going to feel. This has been known to help lower back. So you have a problem with your lower back, you want to be able to move your hips really well. It's really important we have an adequate warm-up. You don't want to skip the warm-up and just get to the bands. You want to warm the body up properly so that it's used to functioning and moving properly. And we're just getting one knee up at a time. We're in opposite arm, opposite leg. So now we're getting to a little bit of transference of weight, a little bit of balance. So we'll do this one again from a seated position. We're just doing this from a standing position. So if you have a chair, I'll show you later on with the chair, without the chair, what this movement looks like. Good, just a couple more. Good, and stepping out, into a wider stance here. Now I'm going to get wider. And what I mean by wider is you want to try and get your feet outside of your shoulders. So now I'm going to lean back. I'm going to sit back in the position. Again, this might require a little more balance, but sitting back in that position and this leaning from side to side, leaning from side to side, lean from side to side, keeping your hips back. Try and keep that knee directly over the laces. So if your knees are extending forward, you need to push your hips back farther. Good, excellent. Okay. So now I'm going to use my chair. All right, so once you're behind your chair, and I'm simply just using this chair for a little bit of balance. If you don't need it, you don't need it. And so we're going to just warm the hips up a little bit here and the legs. So what we're going to do is we're going to start from the hip here, moving the leg out. So right side like that. And again, I'm just trying to not really lean on that chair, just use a little bit for balance. Side, good. And let's do the other side. And then I'm going to extend the leg back. I'm going to show you what it looks like from the side here. I'm extending the leg back like that. So it's here, and I'm just touching down behind my opposite foot. So it's a small lift here. And I do that because I want to keep it into this buttocks area here. Good, and I'm just going to shift the chair so you can see on the other side here, starting again in this position here, and just moving back. Try not to bend your knee. Coming back. Now we're going to get a leg swing here. I'm going to take this chair to the side here. Make sure you don't have anything in the way. If you have a water bottle, you want to move that out of the way so you're not kicking something across the room. And just swing straight back to the back. And just getting this leg to swing freely. Try not to bend my knee again. Good, and now we're going to extend back in that position. Make sure this knee stays directly over top of your ankle, and you want to bring this knee up and step back, and the knee up and step back and the knee up. And depending where you're at in terms of your level, you can keep this leg straight at the back, or you can take a bend in the knee deeper. The deeper you go, the harder the exercise is. But again, it's totally up to you where your level of comfort is. A couple more here. And down, then like to swing the last 2 or 3 back into that swing from that down position. And one more. Good. Heading back to the side here. Again, removing anything out of the way and swinging that leg. Doesn't take much to get your heart rate up a little bit here. And back, remember that this knee needs to stay over top of the ankle. Bring this knee up and back and up. And a couple more. And standing back, and then swing the leg through. Every once in a while, just check where your knee is. One more. And terrific. All right, now we're ready to work with our bands. I've got 3 bands here. And the reason I have 3, they're all different strengths. So the dark blue one is a harder one. I have a gray one that's a little bit easier, and another gray one that's a little bit easier, and they're different brands. So again, find something. You might have 2 or 3 or 1 or 2 that you're going to have used with. So I suggest that you maybe have one that's reasonable strength and one that's a little bit stronger strength. We're just going to start in here. I'm just going to work those rotator muscles. So I want to hold the band. I'm holding it here, and then I'm just grabbing it like that. What I want to do is keep the elbows in, and I want to rotate out this way. Now, this is a tight band. I want to keep a fairly light band with this. Sometimes if it's too tight, just take your hands a little wider apart. The main idea is keep these elbows in and pull. What I'm doing is I'm working the rotation of the shoulder, those little tiny internal muscles of the shoulder. It may not feel like much, but if you do this enough times, you're actually going to find your shoulders getting a lot stronger. And of course, those are important for many different things that you do with your arms. Good. Okay. So we're going to start up here. Nice and tall. I want to keep my hands even, so I'm placing them here, probably a little wider and shoulder width apart. It really depends on how it feels to you. What I don't want to do is have my arms come in too close and the band bunches up like this, so I want to keep it taut. So I start here, and all I want to do is pull down directly behind the head here. So some of you have maybe some shoulder issues, you might only get to here, and that's okay. What I'm doing is just warming up the back of the shoulders, a little bit through the chest and the arms. The main thing is pulling that out, getting your strength by just pulling out and getting stronger. And again, as I mentioned with these bands, the more you pull, the harder they get. So again, you can start with a lighter band and it will definitely get harder as we work through that. Pulling down through here. Try not to dip your head too much forward. That's one reason I keep my hair cut short. I don't get this caught in my hair. Good. That's it. Good. And now to the front. We're going to hold it right here. And again, this is your workout. Do as many as you can do. Some of these exercises might get a little bit tiring. Try and push through them. Try and stay with me best you can. If you get tired again, you can put it down and relax. Here we go. So I'm just going to do about 10 to 12 repetitions each exercise. I'm just pulling directly out. I'm not bending my elbows. It's a pull out. It's not this. It's not that. It's just direct pull, touching the chest every single time. So I'm used to doing this, but you might feel some burning, getting tired up in these trapezius muscles up here. Just relax, settle your shoulders down, rotate back, and then you're ready for the next set of exercises. You're going to come in behind here, start directly back that. Okay, so I've got this wrapped around my back here, and I'm going to push directly out. So I'm going to change my foot position by putting one foot forward, and now we're ready to push out, chest up nice and tall, and extending straight out. This is probably one of the easier exercises you're going to be doing. So definitely you can handle the heavier band here, and definitely we can handle a lot more repetitions in this exercise here. So about 3 more. And then coming out wide here, now we're coming inside, touching the hands together. Again, this is arms are extended. It's not a short movement like this. It's a big movement. Think about hugging a big tree. That's it. And touching those hands together. A couple more. 1 and 2 more. Excellent. And take this back down in front here. And I'm going to do a bigger movement here. So I'm going to take my hands a little wider apart. This next movement tends to be a little harder, especially if you haven't got good mobility in your shoulders. So I'm going to take it anywhere from nice and wide like this. I can take a little wider, but what I want is to be comfortably, keep my arms straight, and move all the way down to this position here. Again, a lot of rotation through the shoulder and the chest, and you may not have it, so take your hands wide enough so that you can accomplish this movement. And it's okay. It's okay if you want to get to there and come back to here. You'll work on getting slowly down. You can keep widening that band to make sure that you're accomplishing that move. And then as you get better at it, you can put your hands closer together so that the move becomes a little more challenging. A lot of times when people work out, they just stay status quo and they don't try and push themselves a little bit further, and then they have the same results all the time. They never get any stronger. And your job is you want to get a little bit stronger, little by little. And that's back and forth on that. Okay, coming straight in here. I like this one. It's a kind of a shoulder tricep exercise. I'm going to hold out that. This is going to be my anchor. I'm going to start right at the chest here. I'm just going to set my feet again back into that good athletic stance. This is my anchor. I want to move this one, keep my elbow up, and I'm pulling it directly out. Last two here. Good. And again, you may want to shake those arms out kind of in between. You might get tight, so it's loose. Take about 20 seconds or so and then move on to the other side. The less rest we get in between, the more aerobically or the more wind that it will take from you. So we want to challenge yourself by getting fit that way. So you don't have to run up a hill. You don't have to do a lot of walking. You can get a lot of cardiovascular work from just working with these bands by taking limited amount of rest. And you should be now is already feeling yourself getting warm and feeling, even myself, I'm finding I'm catching my breath a little bit because I am moving quickly through the exercises. Okay, so now we're going to work our shoulders. So our shoulders.
Can you just step back a smidge?
Sure.
Thanks.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now we're going to work our shoulders. And so I'm going to step on this band here. And I always want it somewhere around my hip is the length that I want that. So I can have same arm, same leg is probably the easiest way to explain it. If I do opposites, sometimes it's a little confusing for some people. But I'm going to take it like this, and I'm going to directly out to the side. Now, this is where it can get difficult. All I want to do is I want to get a straight pull. What I don't want to do is I don't want to shrug up like that or end up leaning to one side because I'm trying to accomplish something, try and get it to a certain height. That's not the goal. The goal is to work the shoulder and not worry about how high you're getting it. So from this position, starting at my hip here, I'm just going to move it directly out like that. 2, 3, good. And I'm not trying to move it. And just because you see me moving it to this height doesn't mean that you should be able to move to that height. What I care more about is how your body is staying straight and just the arm is moving. Now this is a small muscle out to the side of the shoulder, so it doesn't take much to get that arm fatigued. Moving to the other side, again, same leg, same arm. Want it roughly around the hip area here, out to the side. And I'm just moving directly out. Again, you probably notice that there's a difference between the strength of one arm than the other. So you might not have the same range of motion. That's okay. You work a little bit at a time. You work within yourself. You challenge yourself without straining yourself. Going back to the other side here. Same leg, same arm, and now we're coming to the front here. So I'm pulling directly up the front. My knuckles are facing you and directly up to the front. Again, I'm not trying to pull too high. And that's okay. If I want my goal to be higher, then I would just let out more band and I would be able to lift that arm a little bit higher. The shoulder can be a very flimsy joint. There's a lot of muscle covering that, but in terms of the anatomy of the shoulder, it's quite easy to injure. but you can also make it incredibly strong by strengthening the little muscles that are around inside of the shoulder and doing these little exercises here. And it can give you great strength in your shoulder and confidence that you can lift and carry anything. Now this one becomes a little more difficult, is coming in behind you here. So I want to let a lot of slack out with this one. I'm actually coming way out here. And I'm just moving, small movement here. And we'll get him to a more difficult position, but just moving from here. Good, try not to lean to one side. Again, lots of room out here. And this is getting a little bit of that muscle behind back here, and just want to keep our shoulders back, so the rear delt. All right, so now it's getting a little more difficult. Now we're getting into this one here. So a good solid stance. My hands are here. I want my hands to be straight down. Now the biggest problem with this movement is people start turning their hands in order to get a stronger pull or to try and feel like they need to get to a certain height. This is a real small movement. Arms are straight down. I literally just want to pull directly out to the side like that with both arms. I don't want to turn my hands and start twisting my hands. So it's a small movement. So we're going to do a lot of these. We're going to do about 20 repetitions of these. So it's just like that, small movement, no more than that. Try and keep your head up. Try not to bury your head in your chest or lean forward. But this is really good because it really is going to work those middle of the back and pulling our shoulders back, which a lot of us are rounded shoulders forward. Just a small movement. Once I've done that, I just let myself loose a while, shoulders relax, and now I'm going to do one to the side. So now I'm going to hold this side, anchor this side down. I'm just going to do one at a time. 2, 3, good. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and the other side for the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Terrific. Okay. Now's a good time to get a drink, relax a little bit, and then we're going to come and we're going to do our back. Okay. So now we're going to use our back muscles here, so large muscles of the back. And again, our posture over a period of time can get very much like this. We want to work on pulling those shoulders back. So what we want to do is really get the stretch to the chest and want to work on squeezing the middle of our shoulder blades in order to work slowly to get those shoulders back. And yes, you can get those shoulders back. Most of the time, it's just from the posture that we sit at majority of the time. One little tip I like to do, if I'm driving in the car, I try and put my head back against the headrest and I push against that headrest and I adjust my mirror so that I can only see out the back if I'm sitting up nice and tall. Okay, so the minute as soon as I start to slouch, I can't see out the back, so then it reminds me to sit up nice and tall. So we're going to pull those shoulders back and we'll work through this tall motion. So I want you to sit towards the front of your chair. You're going to place this band under your feet. So make sure it's in the middle of your feet. Heels on the ground. Sitting up nice and tall. I'm grabbing around mid-shin here. I'm sitting up nice and tall, so my hands are now by my knees, and I'm simply going to pull back towards my hips. So I don't want to pull up like this. I want to pull back, squeezing the back muscles. Nice and tall, driving those elbows back. Again, focusing on, I'm trying to pinch my shoulder blades. And I just repeat to myself, elbows back, squeeze my middle, squeeze the back, elbows back, squeeze my back, elbows back, squeeze my back. Remind myself over and over again. It's about 5 more here. Good, and just hold the last one. Excellent. come down to this one side. So now we're going to do one side at a time. So again, I'm anchoring around the foot. I'm going to hold this here. And that's what I love about these bands. I can work out by myself. I can be sitting down. I can watch something on TV and just simply go through the routine of the exercise. You watch this video and do this exercise. Here we go, pulling back to the hip here, straight, back. So I was saying push, pull, push, pull, push, pull. Pulling right to that hip, one side at a time. This is where you might notice again the strength from one side to the other. And last one, good. And then putting it around the other foot here. Again, make sure it's securely around that foot. You don't want to come back and snappy with a band. It's a mistake you're probably only make once. Here we go, pulling right to this hip. Again, push and pull, push and pull, push and pull. Good, last 4, 3, 2, and 1. Terrific. Okay, going around the feet again here. So, going to hold it at the very end, and this is where you might want a longer band. If you have a short band, this is not going to work as effective, but a longer band. And this is, again, this is a real small movement. Do not make this any bigger than it is. It's a real small. I'm simply going to just, that little pulse back like that. That's all I'm doing. I'm focusing on keeping my arms long, and I'm focusing on squeezing my back muscles. So it's a small little movement. Don't try and make it like this or anything. It's just like that. I'm just thinking about pulling my arms like they're coming together and pulling them apart, pulling them apart, pulling them apart. So this is very similar to that one we did at the beginning where we had the hands here and back like that. It's working almost the same way, just works it a little bit differently, but it's the exact same movement. So if you prefer doing this exercise to that one because that one is too hard, just go back to this one and just pulling out and squeezing the middle of the back muscles. Good. All right. Now I want to focus on working our legs. Again, this is the foundation of the body, and you really want to build from a strong foundation. So we want to have good leg strength. And so what they're telling us through science is that our leg strength is directly related to the mortality. So the stronger your legs, they're saying the longer you're going to live. So we really want stronger legs. And it gives you great confidence to know that you have strong legs, balance, coordination. And so you don't feel like you're uneasy, you don't have the balance, or you don't have the strength by getting the foundation strong. So how we do that, we're going to start off here seated, and we're just going to march the legs up and down. So what we're doing is holding on the chair here. We're just marching legs up and down. So this is going to give us a little bit of strength and endurance in those legs. And this is great because if you don't have or you're not comfortable with the balance of standing and doing this exercise, it gives you a great option here to just do it from here. And believe me, after 30 seconds or so of picking these legs up, now I'm not stomping them on the ground, I'm picking them up. I'm trying to pull my knees directly towards my chest and place it down on the ground. By doing an intentional movement, you're going to feel like you're working. My heart rate's getting up. I'm breathing a little heavier. And we're going to take this and did a bit of an abdominal exercise. We're both feet down, and we're just going to bring the knees up and down. And again, we're still working very much the legs here. We're also working now our abdominals. So 3, 2, 1. And so for some of you, that may be very tough to do at the beginning. That's okay. I can sit back and I can just do one at a time. And I can lengthen my legs out, lengthen them out. Again, just to work a little bit different each time. You can take the legs out to the side here. So just working a little bit differently. Just to challenge your muscles, your coordination in different ways here. All right, standing up, we're going to do a squatting exercise. So I want to make sure my feet are a little wider. I want to make sure my knees are lined up with my toes. So I don't want my knees coming inside, and I want to push my knees. I want to focus on pushing my knees out as I come up, and pushing them out as I go down. So when I come up, and start my hands back here and pushing those knees out as we come up and push your hips back, pushing the knees out as we go down. Up, push the knees out as we go down. Up, down. Good. That's it. About 4 more here. 4, 3, 2, 1. Now we can make it a little more difficult by taking our arms out of the movement, keep our hands up here, and same movement, pushing the knees out, all being moved through the hip. Hip going back, knees going out. The hip is the main mover here. I'm not just bending my knees and sitting, I'm driving my hips back. This is a great reminder because if you ever hurt your back, you always want to move your hips first. You still have mobility even though you've injured your back. Most people bend with their knees and their back first and not their hips. Couple more. And 1 more. Good. Now I'm going to take one of my bands here. I'm going to take it under and over. I'm going to tie this band here. So I want to make it fairly snug. I don't want to make it too loose. And again, you don't need a Boy Scout knot here so that you can never get it out again. Just enough so that it's right there. I'm going to keep it up around my thighs here, just above the knees. And I'm just going to push out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my knees out this wide. So there's already tension on that. And now I just want to step out a little bit each time. So just moving out there, I'm working a little bit of the lateral muscles here, but I'm working also right around the buttocks here, right around the sides here. So that's the main thing is, again, it's all about strengthening the foundation. And the foundation of the legs is really tied into where your hips are. So the stronger you get around your hips, those buttock muscles, hip flexors, okay, the stronger your legs are going to be. All right, so now that's stage 1. Stage 2 of this exercise, obviously I stand up a little bit now. I got it here, and now I'm going to move out like that. So I'll show you from the side here and how bent I am. I'm bent in this position. My knees directly over top of the middle of my shin, so it's not like this. I'm pushing my hips back, and I'm stepping out to the side that way. Keep your abdominals tight. Out, out, out. Good, and keep my hands in here, a little bit harder. And the lower I get, the harder it gets. So you have to play. I kind of come up and I work my way into just getting a little bit lower movement. You may want to stay whatever stage you are just to get used to this movement. When it starts to burn, that's okay. Then you count yourself and do 5 more once it starts to burn. 4 and 5. Good. And sitting back down. You can untie that. And now I'm going to come back around my foot here. I'm going to press directly out. I'm going to show you a little bit from the side what that looks like. So I want the knee to come in and I want to extend it out. What I don't want to do is get any of this. Okay, that's a different exercise. So I want to bring the knee in, push out. So I'm holding it here. So I want to hold it. And again, this is working my upper body just to be able to hold this right here and not let it move. Knee in and out. 1, 2, good. 3. Trying to keep my foot straight, my toe back towards me, and pushing through my heel. So this may seem like a long workout to you, maybe longer than you've done in the past. You can certainly do this in 2 parts. You can do one upper body, you can do lower body the next day. You can do part of it, 20 minutes as you can, or 30 minutes, depending on where you're at. And then from there, I'm gonna take the same leg, straight leg, and I'm just gonna lift it up and down now. Again, I'm still holding the tension, still working upper body. So this becomes a full body exercise. And I feel the fatigue setting in. That's good. I'm just gonna push it through. And again, feel free to pause the DVD and do what you can. You definitely don't want to do too much at a time. And the other leg, again, holding tight and pushing directly out. Remember, I don't want to get into this. I want to get direct push. In, push, just like I'm on that leg press. Good. I don't know about you, but my legs are getting tired. One more. Good, and then getting that straight leg up. Easy exercise to do. Still sitting in the chair. I haven't had to walk around too much. Easy exercise to do for whatever level that you are. And 4 more, 3, 2, and 1. Good. And let's come back to these abdominals here. So now we're here and just coming back up and lifting. And again, just finishing out the arms here, the legs rather. A couple more. That's it. And then just marching it out. Just let those legs get loose. Okay. All right. So now we're going to finish off with some biceps and some triceps. A bicep here is simply a pulling muscle. So we're pulling here, coming into here. Anytime we move this part to here, that's a bicep, using mainly the bicep exercise, and the tricep, the back of the arm. So anytime we take our arm from a bent position to a straight position, whether it's pushing like this or whether it's extending like that, we're working the tricep part of the muscle, okay? So I want to get rid of that behind there. We want to work these a lot through here. So what we're going to do here is I'm simply got one here and I'm going to grab it right back there like that. So again, depends on my range of motion. I don't have too great shoulders, but I can do this. I make it wide enough so that I can do this exercise, and I'm simply extending back here and extending up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Good. And then the other side here, reaching back and grabbing that. Again, my hand is way down here, so it's not crazy. Right back here, I just want to have enough tension to make it a little bit harder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Good. Very simple. That's the triceps. That's the back of the arms. If I'm not using that at all, I'm going to use it on the chair here. So I'm going to put my hands here on the chair. And I'm going to come forward. I'm going to demonstrate this from the side so you just can see that from the side. And I'm just going to come forward here a little bit here. And I'm still attached to my chair. So all I'm doing here is I'm going to bend down a little bit here. And I'm just getting a little push up and down. Just enough to work the back of my arms. Still attached to my chair. Just bending up and down. Or I can sit back and push forward just enough to get that worked. 3, 2, 1. Good. So you don't really need much, and then you can get that worked. And turn my chair back around this way here. Back to my band. And we're going to do a bicep exercise. Now the biceps here. So putting both feet in, So all I'm doing is taking some of the slack out of the band here. I'm gonna have my hands facing me, and I'm gonna bring that curl in like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. So all I wanna do is, again, I'm bending bringing my fist here towards my shoulder, just like that. Good, 4 more, and 3, 2, and 1. Terrific. So that exercise that we did earlier, again, is that tricep exercise. So we did that from here, where we anchored ourselves down, and that's another good one to start. From here, we can never do too many of these. Again, pulling out that way. We're getting both our shoulder worked here, and our chest, and the back of our arm. Because remember, we're getting that bent position to an extended position, which really works those triceps. 4, 3, 2, 1, and the other side, taking that rest in between, down, and extending that back out. Couple more, and good. Okay. And the last one, just kind of some single bicep work here. Just anchoring that down. Again, make sure that's properly secure on your foot inside, and just working this one at a time here. So I'm just curling this in right here. One at a time. And I don't have to change feet here to the other side. I can just work that. Good, and what I like to do sometimes is do this both at the same time, just alternating them. The idea is to give you as many options as you can have, so that if you're comfortable with one, you may not be comfortable with another exercise. You have a choice between the 2 exercises to do. So again, you can do this just singly, or I can do these alternating, or I can do these, of course, together. It's totally up to you. Okay, so this is what I call the big finish. So the big finish means I just finish off with a kind of a set of 3 or 4 exercises in a row, just to get the heart rate up, and then to cool down, and we finish like that. So here we go, the last big finish. So I'm gonna come back to those back exercises here. And I'm just gonna pull this in here. We're just gonna do 10 of these. Good, and 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're gonna come around the shoulders here for these. We're gonna go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Going into the flies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Coming up, make the adjustment from here, holding up, pulling down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Coming into that again, coming to here. And those bicep here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the last one here, again with this here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other side, 1, 2. So these last little sets of exercises, if you only had a short period of time, you could definitely just do that circuit 3 or 4 times through, and that would be good enough for a workout, and that probably only take you about 5 minutes to do, and that would be enough to do for that day. And then you could gradually make that longer and longer. Of course, at the end of every exercise, we had a warm-up. We always want to have a cool down. We never want to leave ourselves tight, out of breath. You want to just relax those muscles, and Again, put them in a good position so we recover fast the next day and the day after that. So once my bands are away, I'm gonna sit towards one side of my chair, extend my leg back. What I wanna make sure is this knee is down, the toe is back. From this position, sitting nice and tall, I'm gonna take a big deep breath in. As you exhale, hand goes down, I'm gonna reach over. So same arm on the same side as my leg is extended here. I'm just reaching over. Gotta hold that stretch. Should feel it in this leg here, and maybe through a little bit of the arm here. 2, 1, and down. And you're gonna extend this same leg out. You're gonna bend your knee so you're able to touch your toe. Okay, so here, be able to touch that toe, the same arm, same leg, touching that side. I'm gonna reach over with this hand and come down. I'm taking my chest towards my knee. I don't want to round my back. I want to keep my back as flat as I can. And this might be hard to start, and gradually try and extend your leg. Do not rush these stretches. Stay with them as long as you can. And we're stretching the muscles. The muscles aren't like an elastic, they're more like rope. So you're trying to get your body conditioned to the length of time of being in that stretch. So all you're trying to do is tolerate the stretch so your body gets used to tolerating in that position. So you're not trying to lengthen the muscle. You can't lengthen it. Just be able to tolerate so the muscle is used to being in that stretch. Again here, other side, up and reaching over and holding. Toes down, feel a nice long line. Really important to get those hip flexors flexible. And the hip flexor is this muscle through here. Good, and back to the side here, extending this leg out here, stretching the muscles of the back of the leg here, now the hamstrings. Same hand down, opposite hand over, reaching back, extend out. Your breathing should be nice and relaxed. Good. I'm going to place my hands on the chair here. I'm going to lean forward, get that stretch to the chest here. Nice. Try and stay up tall. Don't hunch yourself forward. Extend as much as you can. Try and really lock those arms straight. If you don't have arms on the chair here, or you can place them on the chair itself, just extend those arms back. One hand on top here, grab at the elbow, and you're going to pull across here, stretching through the shoulder. I'm going to turn my head opposite direction I'm pulling. Just breathing comfortably again. And the other side, hands on top of the shoulder, at the elbow, pull across, take your head over. Look away from the direction you're pulling. And the hands together and out. And I'm really trying to exaggerate those back muscles. Good. And feet apart here, deep breath in. Exhale, and come all the way down to the ground, hang straight down. We're gonna rock back side to side. Then I'll lift up my head. Always lift your head first, and one hand on the one knee, one hand on the other knee. Come straight up, nice and tall. Again, deep breath in. Reach up nice and tall, extend those arms. Feet hands together, push directly out again. Good, last stretch here through those legs. You're gonna take one leg, gonna pull it across here. I wanna push this leg down flat as I can that way. Okay, working through the stretch of the hip here. So I'm gonna take a big deep breath in. Hold that air in your lungs. Exhale as you take it over top of the knee. Breathing nice and easy, good. And the other side, get it up. It should be easier to pull your knee up like that. It shouldn't be like you're trying to wrestle an alligator, right? So just work on that flexibility. Deep breath in, exhale. That's it. Good. All right. Wrap your hands around yourself. Give yourself a hug. Okay, you did a great job. My name's Kerry Gordon. It's a pleasure to serve you, a pleasure to give you this DVD. Hope you use it well. Remember to take your time through all the exercises. Do what you can do. Remember, it's your workout. You're not trying to impress anybody. You're not trying to keep up with anybody. You keep up with yourself. Challenge yourself to complete the workout. Challenge yourself to complete parts of it, but do it continuously and consistently, and you'll have great results.